Welcome to the first episode of Platinum Frontier, a PlayStation podcast. I am your host, Justin Rodriguez, joined by my best friend and co-host, Kaelan Keller. What's up, Kaelan?
Yo, what's good? What's good, man?
Yo, all right. So let's talk a little bit about this podcast itself and talk about like what we want to do in terms of the goals and what we want to talk about and what people can expect and all that type of nonsense. Let's get straight to the like meat of this podcast. What do you have in terms of expectations for this podcast?
I think we want to have something, fun, something you can just chill to, listen to whenever. Just something that's a good time, nothing too serious.
I mean, me and you are never serious, but that is what it is. I mean, like, there's gonna be a lot of nonsense going on. I mean, we have topics here written down and stuff like that, but who knows where this is gonna
Nah,
throw
we'll be
to?
all over the place type shit.
Yeah, basically, this is how we are as people, but it is what it is. So, where do we plan to, go over who we are and stuff like that in the future? But for people to know, this podcast is gonna be, weekly. We haven't decided what day. I want to try to start it on the 1st of February, and that's when this is probably going to get uploaded, depending on what we plan. For the most part, we want to keep it PlayStation centric, go over different gaming news, so it's not just PlayStation podcast topics. So that way we could talk about things we're interested in terms of like game releases and news, which you'll see later on in the stories. On top of that, we want to make sure this goes on to iTunes. That's where it's going to go on first, along with YouTube. We're going to experiment with how we do our YouTube videos because this is mainly going to be an audio only podcast, but I might have like different trailers running with our audio over it. We'll see what we do with that. And sooner or later on in the future, it's going to go on to Spotify. We'll figure that out. And I'm pretty sure I could get this onto the Google Play Store. So that way we could be basically on Android and iOS, even though we're straight iOS over here, because, we're a part of a cult. You know how Apple rocks.
Yeah, that's superior.
Yeah, that's serious. You already know. But Kaelan, you could tell people about yourself, your whole, backstory about where you started with PlayStation, what you do now, your hobbies, the whole 9 yards. Just hear a bit about yourself, my guy.
Yeah. So I started getting into gaming hella hard with the 360. That's where me and Justin kind of started playing. We first played Team Fortress 2. I remember that. And we didn't know what the hell we were doing, but we were just having like a good time. And like over the span of that, we were fucking around with the 360, but then the PS4 got announced, and I remember we were always like jealous of the exclusives that the PS3 had. It had like The Last of Us, had Infamous, it had Killzone, but like the online was shit. Like you didn't have any party chats or whatever. So like I remember this dude Justin was always mad hurt because like we could never do any of that stuff on Xbox. So then the PS4 got announced, and we were like, "Yeah, bro, like we got to get that day one." Like, remember when that got announced, Justin?
Yo, I was so hyped. I was like, day one, perfect price, everything, bro. I was so ready for that.
Yeah, man. And I remember we decided like I think like 10 minutes after it got announced, we were like, "Yeah, we're going here. Like, this is what we're gonna do." And so like I've been like a huge PlayStation fan. I mean, I've pretty much played like every exclusive, I think. Um, so that's kind of like where we cultivated the love of PlayStation, just like the exclusives like The Last of Us and Bloodborne, and we're going to get into that later when we start talking about some of these new games, but that's kind of where like my love of gaming has like gone. But outside of gaming, I'm in college right now. I'm in grad school, kind of working on my master's degree for counseling, and in my free time I just love playing games and stuff, and that's what I do.
All right, my backstory with PlayStation goes a little deeper than that. I started off with the PlayStation thanks to my older brother. PlayStation 2 is probably the most played console I've ever played games on, and that's a fact. Almost all my favorite memories come from PlayStation 2. So going into PS3, the reason why I never got a PS3 is because my brother got a 360, and back then, as a younger sibling, that's when your parents would just do the same thing they did with the older sibling with the younger sibling.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like I had no choice, and I didn't really understand the difference between like exclusive and all that. That wasn't until like later on, deeper into the 360 lifespan. So like everybody else, I had a 360. I did love it. Don't get me wrong, some of my favorite games were PlayStation games. Kingdom Hearts, a big fan. We're gonna talk about that in a few seconds. But to go into that, like when it came to the announcements of like next gen consoles, Kaelan and I both knew just from like the original version of what the Xbox One was supposed to be compared to how they, did the whole 360 backwards and revised it and changed everything after the backlash. Even with that, him and I both knew like we were going into PlayStation. There was no debate. I mean, bro, come on, Knack. Yo, Knack is the best game that's off the
Nah,
PlayStation
man, bro,
platform.
you bugging, bro. You bugging. I don't know about that, man.
Bro, Knack got some Last of Us storytelling. What are you talking about? Knack 3, day one.
Nah, man. I don't even know if they'll make a third one, honestly.
Come on. It's Knack, bro. Everybody loves Knack.
I mean, yeah.
But anyway, when it comes to PlayStation, like especially now, like I have buy every exclusive day one. I've played almost all of them. I still have a few in my backlog, which who doesn't have a backlog at this point in time because there's just so many good games. But when it comes to like PlayStation and stuff, like all the news that you could possibly think of, you remember from this generation. You remember The Last of Us. You remember The Last Guardian. You remember Days Gone being announced. Dreams, which who knows when the fuck that.
Shenmue 3,
Shenmue
man.
3 with the guy being absolutely shocked in the crowd. I just don't remember that video when that was playing. And, especially when you saw Ghost of Tsushima recently and all those other games, like that's when you're going to remember. You're not going to remember like a lot of the Xbox announcements. And sure, that sounds biased, but it's kind of true. And everybody still, talks down on Xbox, but you shouldn't necessarily talk down on a console who doesn't want good games. Like,
Right.
who doesn't want to play good ass fucking games. But anyways, Kaelan, what have you been playing recently?
Well, recently I've been playing Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. I just finished that yesterday, actually. And it's my second time I've tried to get into it. The first time I really wasn't loving it. I didn't like how the weapons always broke. I mean, that was really pissing me off. But the second time I kind of came in with an open mind and actually really started to enjoy it. I think I've been playing it for like maybe 2 weeks now at this point or something like that. So I've kind of been playing that and then some Detroit Become Human on the side, which is honestly amazing.
Yo, I think Detroit was slept on. I think that when it
Yeah,
came to
for sure.
Detroit, just because it didn't have like real combat and it was just, quick time events and everything. For me, it's one of my favorite exclusives, which we could do an episode on that later on, talking about like our top 10 exclusives and all that, which would be fun to debate about why you're wrong on everything you're going to say. But that's besides the point.
Man.
But anyway, so I've been playing Dark Souls recently. Basically almost at the end. I have like 4 or 5 bosses left. I've played Dark Souls 2, 3, Bloodborne. I mean, Bloodborne probably like top 5 in this generation alone.
Oh yeah,
That
hands
game
down.
it's not perfect, and I understand a lot of people won't beat it because it's hard and everything, and you die too much. But for those who haven't played it, you need to play Bloodborne because that game, perfection. So to do my own diligence, I decided let me go back, let me go and play Dark Souls 1 after being harassed by everybody I know who I haven't played that game. And I'm still grinding through it. I also recently decided to begin Dragon Quest 11. Now let me tell you why that game pisses me off.
Oh man.
Let me tell you why that game pissed me off. All right. So the story is the most cliche story. You're like the last hero of light, known as the luminary, whatever, born with some birthmark, all that nonsense. The whole 9 yards. If you could probably make the story up in your head and it'd be a better story. Anyways, they decided like the whole thing is about getting a team together to save the world from darkness. You finally
Typical.
seriously. But like when it came to it, they decided to get like to this end point, and I'm like, all right, this is the end. We're gonna do the final boss. Nah, fam, we got a whole another act, and I don't want to spoil it for people who haven't played it or may have not played it. But for me, when I got to that point, I was like, I've had enough. I'm like 25 hours in. I've had enough. I'm over it. I'm gonna move on to the next game. I'm not going back to that game. No one could guilt me into going back into that game. I'm over it. And sure, this might be the first Dragon Quest game on consoles besides handheld. That's okay. It's a good game. Sure, it deserves all the ratings. The music is good. The combat's all right. The story is boring, and you're gonna get over it after
But
like.
how you not gonna beat it though, man?
Because,
I don't know.
bro, I just don't have it in me. After 25 hours in a JRPG, you kind of get over it. What are you
I don't know,
talking about?
man. That's kind of
But
disappointing. Yeah.
you've done that with games too.
I mean, I have, but like, come on,
Yeah,
yo.
what?
Like,
But come on, yo, what are you talking about? Do I need to run down the list of games that you've tried and deleted?
I mean, bro, I could pull out the list of the games that you said were the best, and then you ain't touched some joints in
Yo,
months.
yeah, you're right. Grand Kingdom, I'm over it. Odin Spear,
Odin
I'm over
Spear,
it.
yeah.
I'm over those games. I tried to go back and do my due diligence, and if I could, PSN let us refund their games.
Yeah. I would probably make so much money back.
Exactly. But anyways, we got a few stories we gotta talk about here. First one and foremost, I know you don't necessarily care about this topic, but Utada Hikaru's Laughter in the Dark tour on PlayStation VR. This comes straight from PlayStation's YouTube account. Essentially, the bio of the video says, surround yourself in the magnificent stage production from the Utada Hikaru Laughter in the Dark Tour 2018. She performs 2 songs from Kingdom Hearts 3. One is a Mrs. Kari, and the other one's Chikai. And it lets you experience the live energy of the stage from 3 different camera angles. The reason why I put it is not necessarily because I essentially care about, this being on VR, but I wanted to ask you, do you think this will open the possibility of being able to use PSVR for E3 next year since they're skipping E3 this year, and how that could potentially affect the PSVR sales skyrocketing, people knowing that they'd be able to have a live action seat and basically be right in front of the row?
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be interesting because imagine the one E3 where they opened up with the God of War orchestra.
Yeah.
If you were able to see that like in the VR, like that would be dope. But I mean, it would just have to be high quality enough, though. Honestly.
But like, if you think about it, like, you know how we had that live at PlayStation E3 app that was like a couple of years ago before they decided to just stream it onto Twitch and everything. What
Yeah,
if they
yeah.
do that for PlayStation VR and the seat is literally like in dead center? You have perfect view. You see everything going on. You hear the orchestra or whatever they do. And would that affect you and tell you to go buy a PSVR if it goes on sale again? Like, knowing that this opens the possibility, or if they were to announce it next year, saying, PlayStation VR users for 2.0, you could be here for E3 now. You don't have to buy the tickets to come over here.
I mean, I think it would be a good incentive to drive the sales. But I mean, personally, I want to hold off for the second revision.
I understand that. I mean, I, for one, want it to be PSVR, but I also understand that there's going to be a 2.0. It's going to be better. It's probably going to be faster, and we know nothing about it. Or if there's a 2.0 revision happening, but we're all, gamers, everything happens. We always know when it comes to next gen consoles or consoles in general that there's going to be another edition, and it's going to be the slim model. So, hand in hand, just making the correct assumption, we're there. Next story, we have Anthem's demo is starting soon. For people who don't know, January 25th at 9 a.m. PDT, January 25th, and it ends on January 27th at 6 p.m. PDT. This is for the VIP, which is the first section of people who have the $80 edition of Anthem. They're also allowed to invite, I believe it's up to 2 users from that demo to give them early access. For those of us who don't have it pre-ordered, starting February 1st, 9 a.m. PDT, and ending on February 3rd, 6 a.m. PDT. That's when the regular demo for the rest of the public opens. Kaelan, are you looking forward to the demo?
Yeah, for sure. I'll be honest, man. Like, I used to like shit on this game. Like, I wasn't really interested in it at all. And I know we saw it a couple of times, and it looked pretty average. I think it was just getting overshadowed at the time too. But I saw like the gameplay video from I think a week or two ago, and it really sold me on it. Especially because it just looks so different compared to like Destiny and the Division 2. Like it's really unique.
My main issue is I think they didn't sell us at E3 because they did just a dev diary thing where they sat down and they decided to talk about the
Yeah,
game, and we're gamers and we're impatient. It's just like, show us the trailer. Just
yeah. Like
come
we
and
want to see like how it's gonna play.
Just come, put the trailer on the screen, let it sell us. Don't even talk to us. That's literally how we're operating now. Sony knows it. Sony does it every year. Xbox sort of does it, but they kind of change the pace and they come out, talk to us for like 5 minutes, and then they're like, here are more trailers. They didn't do that because, EA is EA and it's the weakest conference out of all of ours. So for me, I'm looking forward to it. I don't think it's going to be like a quote unquote Destiny clone like people are thinking, or a Warframe clone. I know that's the joke, but I think with the recent set of
It
news
looks
and
it looks like a Monster Hunter type of thing, honestly.
yeah, I think the worry is, are we ever going to get PvP because PvP is not in the game? And is
Yeah,
it a bad thing that we don't have PvP? Which, in my opinion, it might not be because they could focus on balancing one thing.
and they can always add it later on.
Yeah, it could always be add along DLC for $20 or whatever, even though I know people will complain and it is what it is. I hope they don't do that, but knowing EA, they're always looking for microtransactions, and I hope this game isn't riddled with that. And even if it is, I hope it's just for cosmetics, because then
Yeah,
I won't care if it's just like, oh, buy this cool looking armor set for $7.99 or whatever on the store. That won't bother me as long as it's not like game changing nonsense that, like, oh, buy this and you get the automatic max level. Like, what's the fun in that? And does that screw us over? Even though I know there's no PvP, but that might ruin the fun for us for grinding different story missions or whatever it is we have to do in the game, late game. Because I'm the type of person who would rather just, grind through and just like when we did with Destiny and work for it rather than just have it handed to me.
The problem is Destiny should have kept like the PvP and the PvE items like separate.
Yeah, I'm pretty
They
sure
should have just been separate items.
yeah, I'm pretty sure they balanced it so they worked for both ends, and that's what most people complain about. So I wonder if Anthem's gonna be a different story. I know there's a whole live audience that's like out there that doesn't care about this game and thinks it's boring. To each their own. I don't know if I'm gonna get it day one. I'm gonna see how I feel after the demo. I'm not gonna just prematurely pre-order it. And that is what it is. Speaking of new games coming out, we also have another story, The Division 2.
Oh man.
Yo, let's see it. They dropped 2 trailers. One is a story trailer. We don't care. I'm not gonna go over it.
The story is shit.
Yeah, we don't give a
Like,
fuck. We're good on that.
it ended on a cliffhanger. They didn't resolve it.
Don't care. Release date March 15th. Busy month. We have Sekiro DMC5. What else do we have in that month? Another game I think I'm missing. It's Sekiro DMC5.
Yeah, I feel like it's something else.
Whatever, I'm not gonna stress it. Private beta is February 7th, so basically a week after the Anthem demo. I'm not going over story news, so we're gonna go straight into PvP. PvP nonsense. We have 3 different statuses are now added to the Dark Zone. First status, Rogue status. Basically, stealing players' loot, hijacking supply drops, and cutting ropes, to name a few, would turn you into Rogue status. And then
So pretty much the same shit.
Yeah, it gives you access to the Thieves' Den, and it lets you get, vendors that are hidden. And then once you exit the den, you return back to the standard status. If a player kills another player, they will now be the new rogue. Then they will go into a new state called Disavowed. Killing players raises the attacking agent's disavowed level, and killing enough players raises that level, and it turns into a manhunt. And all the other agents can eliminate said person to claim their bounty. Man,
this just sounds so whack.
I know.
Like, honestly,
I'm bored reading this. Man, I'm gonna keep it real. Manhunt status. This is the final stage in the rogue loop. This is where players have to, clear the status at the terminal in order to earn the rewards. You have a choice of 3 random terminals that will be active in the dark zone to clear a manhunt status. You have the option to also increase your notoriety at any terminal, effectively raising your rewards or requiring you to cash out at the next terminal. General terminal areas are visible on the map to regular agents while Manhunt is active, but the precise terminal locations are only revealed to the Manhunt player. This will basically create a loop of cat and mouse, and basically everybody's trying to claim their bounty because why the fuck not? In other news, you have Conflict, which is organized PvP as we know it. We also have Capital Ruins, which players will compete for control of the forest environment. Stadium, players fight in the urban streets and parking lots outside a baseball stadium. I have no idea who decided that. Georgetown, players battle for control over the rooftop.
Wow. You get to fight in actual Georgetown. Wow. Come on.
It's the residential area covered in yellow powder.
Yeah, I've been there. I mean, it's a decent place, but I don't know why I don't know, man.
So, Kaelan, where do you stand on the Division 2, my guy?
Listen, man, when it was first announced, I can't even front. I was hyped. I was like, all right, it's going to be more of what we like. I'm all for this, whatever. Then they showed the video, like, you're in DC, which I was hyped that it was in DC. But it's like summertime. There's no snow, which was like the major aesthetic for like the first game. It made it so unique. And now this just looks boring and generic. Like, I don't even really care for any of the Dark Zone shit either.
I don't care. I don't know how to say I don't care. Division 1 was cool. It was snowy. It was in New York. I live in New York. I was able to see what was accurate and what wasn't accurate. I understand how beautiful the game looked. The missions were all right. The story was okay. We all know it's a loot grinder. You just grind for loot.
Yeah. At least the raids were pretty cool, though. I can't front.
The raids were intense. I'm not gonna lie. I still remember the tents that we had to stick under the bridge. You remember that?
No.
Yeah.
When people kept missing.
Yeah, that was a whole dark time for us. But I wanted the Division 2 to be cool. You could have done it in Chicago and just done a snowy Chicago or a snowy Washington.
Yeah.
Don't add snow areas as a DLC because then everybody's just gonna be pissed.
I feel like it's gonna get like a 75 on Metacritic.
We're reaching if that. Let's be real.
I
It's in
mean,
a busy month.
yeah, like I feel like it's one of those games where the first was really good, and then the second doesn't add much, so then it gets knocked off points. You know what I mean?
Anybody who's hyped for it is probably you could be excited. We're not knocking on you being excited. Everybody has their own taste. Late gamers like their games. Like that's normal. And people will fight against like, oh, this game is whack. Like, who cares? You probably play sports games for a living. Nobody plays sports
Yikes!
games. What did I see? But like when it comes to this, I just think it looks boring. And like I don't care for it. In
Yep.
a month that has all these other grand games, why would I pick up the Division 2? And by
Now
then,
when it's like $30, yeah,
yeah, and by then we're gonna be so deep into Anthem, assuming we buy it, that we're gonna be like, we don't need another multiplayer game. We don't need another loot grinder because that's what Anthem is probably gonna be. So what's the
right.
difference between Anthem and the Division 2 besides the Division 2 we've basically played because we played the Division 1? I can't. I can't. The Division 2 just doesn't do it for me, Kaelan. I just
Yeah, I don't know, man.
And now for the main topic of the show, something we can actually excitedly talk about and not yawn
Yeah,
ourselves to death. Days Gone. Yo, so a bunch of news came out because of the 1 hour Game Informer video. So basically, Days Gone, it comes out April 26, 2019, in a month where we have no idea what else is coming out besides Mortal Kombat. I think Mortal Kombat comes out the 25th or the 23rd. It's one of those. Don't care for that right now because I'm going to be playing Days Gone days after that.
yeah,
Another thing that was announced, Days Gone Collector's Edition for all you Collector's Edition collectors. It comes with a statue, it comes with a steelbook case, it comes with 6 pins, it comes with a physical and digital mini art book, physical and digital original soundtrack, Days Gone So On patch, and 4 decals. If you pre-order the $70, $80 edition on PSN, you could get the art book and I believe the soundtrack both digitally. So for all of you who just cared about that, there you go. The main set of news, we could go over this. Most importantly, it's single player only, which I'm not shocked. I don't know if you are, Kaelan.
no, I mean most of Sony's exclusives have been that way, honestly.
Yeah, so to me, that didn't change anything or steer me away. The game follows 3 stories. It's about the main character Deacon, his relationship with Boozer, and the response organization that is researching the infection that takes place in Days Gone. This is what shocked me. I did not think that the game would take 30 hours.
Yeah, I was thinking like maybe 10, 15.
I just didn't assume. I thought that was going to be one of the things that you spend 1 or 2 days no lifing and then the game would be finished around. To me, I think 30 hours will be great. I hope it doesn't get redundant. Other Sony exclusives such as, Horizon didn't feel redundant. I loved Horizon. God of War didn't feel redundant. So I just hope that even though I know people are looking at Days Gone as the weakest exclusive, which I don't blame them, and even though I don't feel that way about the game, I don't blame them considering you look at the lineup. I just hope this game doesn't get repetitive and it doesn't get, frowned upon because, oh, you have to keep doing this or keep doing that. There's no difficulty options apparently. So it's just a standard difficulty all across. So for all of you people who like to go hard for playing in the most extreme modes, which I don't know why you would do that to yourself, or people who want to just cruise through and play through easy, just only a standard difficulty. So there's that. There's playable flashback missions, which is a cool little tidbit, meaning I guess we're gonna have to go back in time often and we're gonna be playing through memory sequences.
That's kind of cool.
I didn't think this is a cool tidbit. I don't know if to be honest, I don't think any PlayStation exclusive has this, but the game has multiple endings depending on your choice. And
Well, Detroit
oh,
does,
okay,
but
well Detroit, yeah, that's Quantic Dream,
that's a
so
that's about it, I think.
the game does have full damage, which I mean if you play Dark Souls or Bloodborne, gravity is the most OP thing in video game design. You could turn off the XP pop up on the HUD. So for all of you people who just want a clean HUD and don't want to see, what goes on when you kill things, you could turn that off. You can switch shoulders, which is also a cool feature. You could also play the game after you beat it, and that's also a pretty cool feature because I know most games when you beat it, it just keeps you at the last mission or just nothing to do after. Let's go a little bit about the details of the world. There are 6 different regions in the game. There's dense forests, meadows, and there's also desert lava fields and caves and snow fields. I know from the trailers we've seen the meadows and the forest, and we've also seen the snow areas. I don't think we've seen the lava fields. Kaelan, you could correct
Yeah,
me.
Nah, we haven't seen that yet.
99% of the buildings are enterable, which is also great. So I hope they all have loot so I can survive because I'm not trying to die out here. The game has a day and night cycle with different weather patterns, which I assumed because it's next gen. There are 1,200 there are 1,200 dynamic events in the world. Most want to kill you, unshockingly. You don't climb towers to review the map. You find the maps in bunkers, which thank God, because then it would have just felt like they were copying Assassin's Creed, which has been doing that.
Ubisoft game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they would have been copying basically Ubisoft. So I'm glad that they found a way to make theirs kind of original. There are 5 encampments in the world, which Deegan goes between, and he has to forge relationships. Interesting. The game has fast travel, great, but you have to clear out freaker nests first, which freakers are the quote unquote zombies, even though they're not zombies, they're alive people. Weather such as the rain makes driving more difficult, and you may need to switch the tires. That's really interesting. I don't know how annoying that's gonna get. I hope that isn't something where it's like, oh, now I gotta do this. I just hope it's a 1, 2, 3, exchange that we have to do. You are more silent in the rain. I'm assuming there's gonna be stealth missions, and it's gonna take place in the rain, and that will help us to our advantage. I wonder how the weather is gonna change this, but the weather changes the enemies. So I wonder if it changes like the
Hmm.
behaviors or how they react or the quantity.
Maybe like how aggressive they are.
That's gonna be interesting. I hope that's something that doesn't really screw us over in the end. But hey, there's collectibles, of course, loot, of course. You find blueprints for new weapons, of course. Neo checkpoints have all kind of useful stuff for you, but you first have to get inside each one as a puzzle. So I'm assuming this is going to be something that's either going to be increasingly frustrating, or it's going to be just obnoxious to do, like the Spider-Man outpost post Act 1, where you have to clear all those outposts with those people shooting at you, which is obnoxious.
Oh God. I hope not.
Taking out ambush camps makes the part of the world decreasing safer. It is what it is. Gonna make the world easy for us. Taking out freaker nests decrease the local population. The game does have small towns to explore, which I'm assuming are just going to be empty and full of loot and collectibles. You can explore ski lodges, mountain resorts, and golf courses. Players can collect historical markers spread throughout the map, and this is just a bit of lore from Oregon's Pioneer Pass. This is all actual facts, and this is research that they did themselves over at Sony Bend, which is really cool of them to do. Show Oregon some love. The game has real world landmarks such as the Mount Bachelor, Mount Washington, and the Three Finger Jack. I have no idea what any of those are. I live in New York.
Yeah.
I live in New York. That's the most important city in the world. I'm good, Chief. Weapons found in the world will not be as good as weapons you can buy since those have been left out in the elements. That's interesting. I don't know if games like Red Dead have done that before because I never personally played Red Dead. So, Kaelan, I don't know if you could comment on that.
Um, not really. I mean, yeah, it wasn't really set up like that.
The next bit of information, this is about Deacon, the main character. He has 3 skill trees: ranged combat, melee combat, survival. You can upgrade his health, stamina, and focus. So that way you could also upgrade your weapons, and you could help using the narrow tech, which is the tech from the main villains and the people who are doing this research. He has survival vision that can help you use to search the area for things that you can interact with. You can craft different health items, traps, explosives, you name it. You could even make a bolt that makes the freakers frenzy and attack each other. So that's gonna be something I'll probably no life because I'm trying to kill these freakers because fuck them. Deeker has a gun locker where he keeps all of his guns you can buy, and you can get skills like focus, which slow down time. So I'm assuming he has some sort of backstory, and I'm assuming
Yeah,
that
maybe like some training or
yeah,
whatever.
I'm assuming that he's gonna have some sort of crazy backstory where they tried to pull an experiment on him, and it was like some particle accelerator type shit from the Flash, and he got
This
powers.
man.
I'm just saying. Section over here, we got Deacon's bike because I know people care about the bike. The bike breaks down and runs out of gas. You're gonna need to fix it and refuel it. You can upgrade the bike in 20 different categories, such as the exhaust, the engine, the frame, the fuel tank, tires, suspension. You can paint the bike because who doesn't like cosmetics? You can store ammo on the bike, and your bike makes a lot of noise and will attract enemies. So we're fucked. You will encounter several enemies, such as the newts who have love for high places, and they will only attack you if you're low on health or near them. Screamers will alert the freakers in the area, and of course, they will bring the hordes. You'll have infected animals, including runners, which are wolves, criers, which are crows, and ragers, which are bears. Freakers are strong in the cold and hide in the sun. They will come out if it's raining, though. They eat,
Oh hell no.
yeah. Oh hell no! They eat, sleep, and drink, so they're humans. I'm assuming, but they're just like infected humans, so they're not zombies like in The Last of Us. So for all you people who are out here like, "Yo, Days Gone is basically The Last of Us," you're fucking wrong.
This guy.
Another type of mention that we have here is called the Breaker, but they didn't show what it was. And the roaming hordes can be anywhere. And just so you know, 300 freaker hordes is considered small, which questions how big can these fucking hordes get?
I said like 3,000 probably. Wouldn't be surprised.
If it's 3,000, I hope the fucking frame rate isn't gonna drop because then you're gonna have all those people bitching that actually give a fuck about using
Oh
Digital Foundry videos.
yeah, it's probably the hardest thing they had to optimize probably. Like the large amount.
So going back to our topic where you mentioned the PlayStation exclusives, ranking in terms of like future exclusives that we know are coming out, where do you think Days Gone is gonna go in the lineup? Or you think it's gonna go towards the deeper end of Detroit Become Human, which it's not bad, but it's not amazing? Or is it gonna be in the like towards the, God of War, Last of Us, Death Stranding, which was a big question mark because nobody knows what the fuck that is, and everything else that's coming out.
I don't think it's gonna be up there with like The Last of Us and stuff. I think it's gonna be like Detroit. Detroit. I think people are gonna sleep on it. It's gonna do like pretty phenomenal on scores. Probably get like a 85, 90. But it's just not gonna have the same appeal as like God of War and like Last of Us. Like when you hear those titles, like you want to pay attention. And when you think of Days Gone, it's like it's a whole new IP. So people are like aren't sure about it.
And like, there's an argument out there because people are just like, you know, why is Days Gone being looked frowned upon and just like looked at like a joke? And it's like everybody's arguing like, oh, it's just The Last of Us, but like The Last of Us is a total top tier experience. Everybody loves The
Yeah.
Last of Us who has played it. And if you have a PlayStation 4 and you don't know what The Last of Us is, go in the store right now, pay $20 because it's a PlayStation hit, and all the PlayStation hits are
Oh yeah,
$20,
that's right.
and
Forgot
buy
about that.
that game and no life it and thank me later. Because that game
Game's a masterpiece.
is perfection from storytelling to combat and
Like the first hour.
perfection.
Wow, man.
But like, and with God of War, I was never personally a God of War fan. I knew what it was. I played the PSP because I supported the PSP and the PS Vita. Thank you very much. Fuck all of you who didn't, because the PSP is one of the best handhelds ever created. Don't
It's
at me.
man.
Um,
It was.
and then God of War came out, and I remember when the E3 started, and they had the fucking orchestra playing, and we're like, "Yo, what is this?" And Kratos just
I
comes
had
on the
chills.
screen, and we're just like, "Yo." And I know Days Gone now doesn't have that effect because Sony didn't really advertise it as much as they did for others, but maybe it's because they understood that like, let's just make this game its own tier and not try to put it up against the Titans, which are God of War, The Last
Yeah,
of Us, Horizon Zero Dawn. And I know it's gonna get slept upon, and I know a lot of people might not even buy it day one because it comes out the same day as Avengers Infinity War, which is a weird correlation. But I know there's a lot
oh
of people
snap.
that I hate you for that. Fuck you. I hate you. Balanced as it should be, huh? But I know it's a
Yeah,
weird correlation, but it comes out the same night. Especially if you're seeing an open night for Avengers and then you have Days Gone
man.
later on.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
are gonna be
I'm gonna play the game. I'm gonna play it the next
Yeah,
day.
there are people who
I
are
can't even
probably gonna
find.
wait to buy it, and there's gonna be people who are just gonna be like, don't want to spend money because you have to take an account, not everybody has the money to afford games, especially with the tax coming around the East Coast area and everything. But
Bro, I only get like one a month now. Like
yeah,
it's
for
just it's so
real,
expensive.
like $60 has become a lot. Like it wasn't
Like
originally, but
like you got a game share with people now, man, to save money.
yeah, and that's the thing. And there's a lot of people who might not know what game share is, and it's not really our job to tell them. They could do research on Reddit and Reset Era and every other website they look upon. But that's a weird correlation because some people might only have money for Avengers. Movies are expensive. It's like $30 for 2 tickets.
Man, now, up here though, up here it's like 12 bucks.
Yeah, for one single
If I go
ticket.
and if I go on a Monday, it's like 5,
Yeah,
6,
that's
which
because
is
Monday and
nice.
Tuesdays is typical. But like, it's a weird correlation for me to bring that up. But you have to understand, two Titans that like you have a really good exclusive video game and a movie that almost every fucking person who watches movies is waiting
It's
for
like
me.
a cultural phenomenon, like that movie.
Like everybody's gonna run out. I'm gonna buy tickets day one for that. Like even I'm gonna be
Oh
like,
yeah,
I need to see this before I even play Days Gone. That's gonna be a whole different thing. And then when I probably buy the ticket after the movie, I'm gonna be talking about it. And while I'm playing Days Gone, I'm gonna be talking about
yeah,
Avengers. It's such a
man.
weird circle to think about. But like going back to like Days Gone, I just think that people need to give it a chance. And anybody in the comments could be like, "Well, you guys didn't give the Division 2 a chance." Listen, we played the Division 1. We know what the Division 2 is gonna be like. Just because they're trying to
Yeah,
right their wrongs with the Dark Zone doesn't make the story any more interesting. Doesn't make the universe any more interesting. Doesn't make the combat, which it looks exactly the same, any more interesting. The UI in the
the
trailer,
the combat was interesting though. Like I'll give it that.
the
Like with the
yeah, oh
skills,
yeah,
the different skills people
but
had.
removing the skills, the basic gun rubbing, the end soaking in all the bullets, even though they're regular humans, doesn't make sense. But even the UI in the trailer, which I'll probably run through while we're talking about it, it looks exactly the same. It's not like they did any minor upgrades, and I guess you could say don't fix what isn't broken. But if you're trying to reiterate a game, you want to make small changes. Like things like
Yeah,
that matter, and some people will be like, "Why does it look exactly the same? Did you just copy and paste the game?" Like it doesn't shock me when it comes to that. That's the one thing about PlayStation exclusives of like everything satisfies something different.
yeah, like a different genre.
Death Stranding is gonna probably be like some psychotic ass game. That's gonna be like a thriller. We've never had that. Horizon Zero Dawn, the first game that actually made gamers care about a female protagonist. Sure, you could say everybody loves Tomb Raider. Don't care. Respect to all you people. Lara Croft isn't as interesting as Aloy, and I will debate that for my entire life.
Oh, hands down, dude.
I'm
Hands
sorry.
down.
Does it? There's no competition. Aloy all the fucking way. God of War. Do I even need to say anything about God of War?
Nah.
All you have to say is boy, and everybody knows.
God of War was like one of those games you wish you didn't beat.
Yeah, for real. Detroit Become Human. Not everybody's cup of tea. Fully get it. But the story and the meaning behind the story was good enough, and each character could connect with different people. For me, I cared about Kara. I don't want to spoil it because hopefully next episode, Kaelan will
Her
have
story is so
exactly.
good.
Kaelan will have beaten the Detroit, so we can sit down and talk about why Detroit was slept on, and that'll be a main topic of discussion. So I could talk about how amazing it was. But that game graphically, beautiful. Story wise, great. I just understand that some people just like to mindlessly, fuck people up and have action. There's none of that. It's pressing buttons using analog sticks. It's basically a storytelling visual novel that's absolutely beautiful. The Last of Us, tier of its own. It might even be above God of War. And God of War is already a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I can't even front, man. Last of Us was, man.
Then you have the mini tier exclusives such as Concrete Jungle, not Concrete Jungle, Concrete Genie, which is coming out later this year. We don't have a release date. That is something that not everybody's gonna like. Fully get it. Fully get it. Dreams, personally, I'm interested in it as someone who goes to college, which I forgot to mention earlier, but I go to college for software development, so I'm also interested to see as a development engine how Dreams is going to play out because people are remaking the craziest shit, and it's fucking dope to see that. And I'm personally interested in that alone enough for me to want to buy the game day one. I didn't get into the beta, sadly. I was really hoping I did. Then you have what are other exclusives that are out? You have Persona 5, which everybody seems to love, which I have
Oh,
to play.
dude, you're sleeping on that game.
I
Come
really
on,
am
man.
sleeping on the game.
Like you're tripping.
I'm gonna do my diligence and try to beat the game for the podcast so I can talk about it. If it makes you feel
That
better.
game, man. There's so much that to talk about with that
Like,
game.
yeah, I know. And then you have like Dragon Quest 11, which isn't the best game, but it's okay. It's there. And you got Near Automa, which everybody's sleeping on.
Masterpiece.
So like see like everything satisfied, like you have a whole category of JRPG games which they all do different things. You have the action packed, you have the storytelling, you have the what the fuck, which is Death Stranding all alone in its own little corner, just like hey guys, I exist. And then you have Days Gone, which is just like, yo, I'm gonna do my own thing. And everybody's sleeping on that. And it pisses me off because Days Gone looks really interesting. And I hope people become open-minded to it, because if not, games like this wouldn't exist. I understand that Sony Bennett's only known for the Uncharted game on PSP, not PSP, PS Vita actually, and still people didn't
Yeah.
even buy the PS
That was
Vita.
such a good game.
I played it.
That was such a
I even
good
forgot
game,
to
yeah.
mention Uncharted in the PlayStation exclusives, which Uncharted was phenomenal. Uncharted 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, dude.
If you don't have that, you need to do
Eh,
your diligence and buy that too. There are so many games that we might even do a whole episode just recommending games
Yeah.
and just talk about all our favorite PlayStation exclusives and what you need to play. There are games people have slept on, which I personally don't care about, like Gravity Rush and all that, but that's a different episode for a different day. But
Oh, Gravity Rush was so good too.
Days Gone, people need to give it a chance. People need to give this game a chance, and you need to be open about it. You can't just shut games out unless you've already played like the first game of part of a series, which The Division don't care. Destiny and Destiny 2. I personally love Destiny. They still needed to change it. Destiny 2 came around. I played it, beat the story, went back to it later on, didn't care anymore. Don't care
Yeah.
about it now. Won't ever care about it again, probably. And that's just because there's so many other fucking games to play. And it's not even because I dislike it. And I don't know if you do that too, but there are so many games, Kaelan, out here that we all have to give our attention. And we all got lives, we got college, we got, work and all that we also have to attend to. So our time is kind of limited.
Yeah. It's like we gotta pick and choose.
Yeah. So like I hope that when it comes down to Days Gone, I hope it does well when it comes to sales. I hope it does great in its reviews. Even an 80 to like an 85 or an 85 to 90, it will be considered amazing for this game. Because I feel like there's a whole cult of people that are just not open minded to it, and then there's everybody else. And then there's the Xbox fanboys, which we're not here to console war. If you still do that, it's 2019. Get over it. I own an Xbox One. Kaelan, I'm pretty sure. Don't you also own an Xbox One?
Yeah.
Yeah, we own all the consoles. We're open minded to everything. We play every single thing. We just happen to be PlayStation fanatics, and that's what we're here to talk about every week. And just completely talk about nonsense and just sleep on things like the Division 2. As you can see, we all have issues with the Division 2. But yeah, I don't know, like in terms of like how you feel about this game, like where your hype level lies, Kaelan. If you want to go over that and just give your own opinion about it.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think right now, like my hype's at a medium. Like I'm excited for it, but like I'm not like, oh my god, I can't wait to play it type of shit. I'm really curious to see how well it's gonna review though, because like I want to know how like the critic outlets are gonna like take it. Like, are they just gonna shit on it, or are they gonna, hold it up on its own and not compare it to like God of War and The Last of Us?
I hope it doesn't get compared to The Last of Us. I know it's going to, and it already has
It's
begun.
going to,
It's been since
yeah.
its release trailer on E3 back when they finally showed what Sony Ben was working on. I personally like Sam Witwer. I've watched a couple of one of the shows that he was in. I think it was called like Being Human or something like that on Netflix, which was good. I personally have
Never
faith.
seen that.
Yeah, it's a decent show, but I would say like I just hope it doesn't get fully compared to because like we don't even though we don't know the true backstory of like what makes Deacon different than the Freakers, why he has things like the survival instinct with his eyes and things like that. Like we don't know certain factors, and it could be super interesting. Sure, this is not gonna be no Spider-Man, no great power comes with great responsibility type shit. But like it's dead serious, and we still don't know like for when it comes to his backstory. And I'm personally interested, and sure, I might not be the most hype fan of it because like I'm not a fanboy of Days Gone. Don't get me wrong; it's not like I feel the same way with Horizon. Like I could talk about Horizon for hours because that game was phenomenal, and God of War. God of War alone, just
Yeah,
own echelon of gaming. Like, but when it comes to like Days Gone, like I'm at a medium or a slightly above medium, at hype level. But you also got to, remember you got other shit that comes out that week too. I'm gonna be,
yeah. It's gonna be a busy week with all that stuff.
it's gonna be so obnoxious, and it's gonna be like so hard to contain the hype level because you got Mortal Kombat coming out, which I don't know where you actually love Mortal Kombat. We had 12 characters introduced and all that. If you want to go over that, Kaelan, I could like Google it and see what it is. But with that coming out, I don't know if you plan to buy that same week because it comes out the same week as Days Gone.
I don't know, man. Like I want to, but like at the same time, like I'm not into fighting games like that. Like that's the problem for me.
I mean, I'm into fighting games, but when it comes to me, like Days Gone is already pre-ordered because I've been pre-ordered that already this week. But I don't know, cause like Mortal Kombat looks good and it looks beautiful, and I don't know, like what makes that different than people who are gonna not decide to buy that over Days Gone. Like an example, like for people who care about Mortal Kombat, Scorpion, Raiden, Shao Kahn, which is a pre-order bonus, Baraka, Scarlet, Sub Zero, and Sonya Blade have all been confirmed. And that's just one part of the news we got. I believe Mortal Kombat's release date, which I'm also looking up for you, Kaelan, so you can find out so we can actually speak about that, is April 23rd, 3 days before Days Gone.
Yeah,
Personally, I don't know if I'm gonna have the money for that. You know? Like, is that spooky to think
I
about?
think I'm probably just gonna skip Mortal Kombat, honestly.
I think I might skip it too because when it comes to NetherRealm games, I don't know if you noticed this, but Injustice 2 goes on sale all the time.
Dude, I can't wait for next Injustice. Like that will be a day one buy for me.
Yeah, like you have all these games that come out and you can look at it and you could go, well, I could buy it day one, spend $60, get bored after 2 weeks of playing it because the next big thing comes on. Or you could save the money now and just buy it on sale later on, which I know that's a part of, gaming culture as a whole. And I know for a fact that me and you do that a lot. Like we look at games and we go, all right, this is wait for a sale. This is one of those games where we could wait on this. Like
Yeah, because I mean that's the way you gotta view it.
same thing's happening this upcoming week. We have Kingdom Hearts 3 and we have, Resident Evil 2. And Resident Evil 2's one-shot demo was absolutely amazing. And I actually want to get both this week. But
I still need to try
you
that.
do, it's phenomenal. It's great. It's 30 minutes. It's available now for anybody who hasn't played it.
I might try that tonight, actually.
Do it. It's phenomenal. It's a beautiful looking game. You get to play as Leon and you get to go walk around this mansion and you get to do all this other cool stuff. I didn't get to finish it. I did it on my Xbox, so I might replay it on my PlayStation 4 to make sure like my final verdict is that I really want this game. But it comes along with Kingdom Hearts 3, which people have been waiting for almost 12 years now. I think Kingdom Hearts 2 came out 2006 in March. 95% sure that's correct. So 13 years basically. And people are like comparing like which one is which. And which one are people gonna buy? Is this gonna outsell that? I don't know why people care about which outsells which. Like I don't know if that's ever affected you, Kaylin, like, oh, this game outsold it by 200K this week. I'm not gonna buy the other game just because this game outsold it.
Nah, I don't. I really don't care for that stuff.
Like, I don't know how excited you are for Kingdom Hearts 3 because like I could spend years talking about how
I
long I've
mean,
waited for that.
I'm not a big fan of the series, but like I love Kingdom Hearts too, so like I'm definitely gonna play it.
I played Kingdom Hearts 1. I played Kingdom Hearts 2. Fuck Rechain Memories. If any of you wasted your time, you poor souls. 358 out of Tuesdays was a good game. I refuse to say it the correct way because that's just stupid and way too long. You could watch both Recoded. You could watch Recoded and 358 out of 2 days and Chain of Memories on YouTube. Just watch all the cutscenes. Don't waste your
Yeah,
time.
I only beat the first and the second, and that's all. The only ones I played.
Don't even waste your time. Just play Kingdom Hearts 1, play Kingdom Hearts 2, and Birth by Sleep. And that's it. And you're good. And just make sure you Google the chronological order so you know which one is which. And just watch.
Yeah, I might play Birth by Sleep. I heard it's really good.
It is. And like another thing, like two good games. They might not be the titans of the industry, but after what feels like a long wait, because the last set of games we got was what? Just Cause 4 in December, I believe, and another game came out in December. I forgot what it was. But from then to now, it feels like forever since we've gotten a great game. And
Yeah,
both of these are going to be great games, and then we have to wait for Crackdown 3, which don't plan to play it.
yeah. I mean, I was a big fan of Crackdown 1 and 2. Like they were just fun. But like this third one, man, I'm tired of hearing about it. It looks average, you know.
It looks average. The trailer with Terry Crews didn't do it for you, buddy.
Nah, man, dude. Like
Even
it's
with
been
Game
delayed like
Pass?
what 3 times, I think.
All right, it was delayed once. We didn't know the date. Got delayed even further. Then they gave us a release date. Then they tweeted about the release date, and that was like one E3 ago or two E3s ago.
And then they pushed it back like a month, I think,
Yeah,
or
then they
something.
pushed it back, deleted the tweet quietly with the release date. Then they retweeted about the new release date. I remember everybody talking about that on like Reset Era one day, like how all the tweets were gone about the release date of Crackdown 3. Which good thing Days Gone got delayed from April. Good thing that got delayed.
Yeah,
I mean, not delayed from February to April because it was originally
it was a smart
yeah,
move. There's too much.
it was originally February 22nd, I believe, which all three of those games was coming out. It was Crackdown 3, Metro, and Days Gone all on the same day. Smart choice to give it its own day where nobody else is, on the same day besides Mortal Kombat, which I don't know how big of a fighting game fans that are out there are gonna, buy Mortal Kombat to each his own. But yeah, like when it comes to gaming, I just hope people realize, like, yo, Days Gone, it's gonna be a good game. I don't know, like, is there anything else, Kaelan, that you're out here that you want to bring up from different gaming topics that we could talk about for a few before we close out the show?
Um, man, I want a Bloodborne too.
Oh, here we go.
I really do, man.
Why do you want a Bloodborne 2? Put me on. Let me hear you
All
out.
right,
I'm gonna
all
sit
right,
down, all quiet, and listen to your argument. This better
all
be
right.
strong.
Listen. So I've tried to get into Dark Souls, and yeah, I'm still gonna try to because I have it and whatever. But like I just never really liked the Dark Souls games. Like they were just too slow for me. And then Bloodborne came out, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and try it. And I remember when I got it, you're like, nah, man, you're never gonna beat it. Like dead ass. I remember that you said that. And it took me a while, but I beat it. And I love the fast paced nature of Bloodborne a lot more than just like how Dark Souls was. Like it was just more my style, and like it just felt more manageable to me. And I feel like the game was so good that it deserves a sequel. Like it just shouldn't end there.
Now, a few questions. Okay. Number
Yeah.
one, we don't know what Blue Point is working on. Blue Point Studio, people who have done the remake for Shadow of the Colossus and all these other games that have recently come out. If the hyped rumor or non-existent rumor that people are creating, which is them creating Days Gone, not Days Gone, Demon Souls, would you buy it?
I would.
You would buy Demon Souls and play it? You would give it the chance?
Yeah, I would.
But would you play Dark Souls Remastered before that?
No. But like I'm eventually gonna try it anyway. Because I have it on Switch, so I'm gonna try it. But
Do you think that the reason why you were able to get into Bloodborne and not Dark Souls yet, even though you're going to give it a real try, is because when it comes to Bloodborne, it's so fast paced and there's so much happening at once that when it comes to Bloodborne, you're so enticed to keep on playing and all the actions being thrown at you that when it comes to Dark Souls, it feels more methodical and slow paced, and you can memorize the enemy's patterns because people do speed runs of Dark Souls and they know the patterns and they know when they're gonna hit, they know the moves, and with Bloodborne, it's a lot harder to keep track of that. Do you think that's why you beat Bloodborne and why you're so enticed when it comes to Bloodborne?
yeah, I think that really nails it on the head because I mean everything is just so fast, and even I remember the mechanic if you're able to get a hit in, you'll recover health and stuff like that. All the mechanics in the game kind of push like that fast gameplay, and like even the bosses, like yeah, I had trouble with a lot of them, especially that spider one. Like yo, fuck that boss.
The
But
spider one. Oh, I forgot the name.
man, I think you had to help me with that one. I think there was only like two bosses I needed help with actually, which was nice. But it was like it's just it's the fast nature of it. Plus, of course, like I really like the how it's all interconnected and the shortcuts and stuff. So like the staple Dark Souls stuff I liked, but I just liked how it was faster in Bloodborne.
So you like the mechanics in terms of dying, regaining your souls, the items.
Yeah, like that was dope.
So you enjoyed
Like I
like
enjoyed
making
that.
your own, cosmetic suit because that's another thing people do. It's called fashion board and fashion souls, which is, not really taking the stats too seriously and just trying to make your character look as cool as possible. So you like that too, but you just didn't like how Dark Souls 1, especially 2, is slow and methodical and you have to more take down your pace and like really count what you want to do and really figure out what the fuck to do in the moment, even though it's really hard for some people to actually register that type of thinking.
Yeah, and like I actually played, I think maybe an hour or two of three, and I actually like that one a little bit more than like one and two, which is probably because it was
Three
faster.
is faster than one and two. Two is the slowest and the most disliked. So, like, that's just
Yeah,
each his
like
own.
two, I didn't even make it past. I think maybe 30 minutes. I was like, nah.
I beat two. I beat all of two's DLCs. I beat three. I didn't go back for three's DLC, I believe. I beat Bloodborne and the DLC, and I'm going through Dark Souls 1 now. And I'm just struggling to care anymore because it all feels the same to me. At some point in time, I plan to beat it. I don't know what I plan to like start because Resident Evil 2 and Kingdom Hearts 3 comes out this upcoming week. So I'm looking forward more so to playing that than continuing a Dark Souls run or whatever. So I'm just kind of chilling. But like speaking of games that I want, yo, bro, where's my Horizon sequel?
Man, I'm telling you, PS5 launch. That's when it's gonna
Where
come.
is my Horizon sequel? I need to know more about this story.
You gotta
Shout out
wait,
to
bro.
my
You gotta
girl
wait.
Aloy. She's the day one. I fucking love that game. I remember I binged that game in like a whole day to the point where I tried going to sleep and I couldn't because I just wanted to keep playing and I was looking forward to keep on playing. So I just played it until like 9 in the morning and then I knocked out.
This man.
That's the type of shit I did because I was dedicated to that game and I love that game. Another game people sleep on, The Last Guardian. Shout out to my boy Trico. You need to put some respect on
Yeah,
Trico.
that game was so
I
good.
connected and resonated with Trico. That ending almost made me cry, and I'm not gonna spoil the ending.
Nah, I teared up, bro. I can't even
I
lie.
can't do that to the people out here and spoil things like that. But if you have The Last Guardian and didn't like it, it is what it is. I understand that the programming of the AI might not have been easy for you to, control Trico and whatnot. But when it comes to the actual story and the world itself, it's actually interesting. And I actually cared about Trico, and I really, really love the game. People need to play it. It's only $20 usually, and it goes on sale very often. It's not hard to understand. People can't pick up $60 games. That's another game I'd
Isn't it one of
recommend.
the greatest hits? Like I thought it was.
Actually, I don't know. You could double check with that,
Yeah, let me
but I'm
see.
pretty sure it's at a standard price of $19.99 now with PSN store because I know they decrease games here and there. But like regardless of the price, I know it's not $60 anymore, but it's a good game. And I'm not gonna say it's perfect because it really isn't. I understand in that AI with Trico could be very frustrating, and I totally get it because even I went through that. But
But
it's
when I
really good.
explained it to you, it made sense though.
Yeah, it took me a while to get a handle of Trico. I feel like the one thing they didn't do was teach us, and they were just kind of like, "Here's this big ass beast
Oh
controlling."
yeah, it's 19.99
Yeah,
on the store.
another good
Nice.
game. That should be a game you also pick up. There are so many good games in that store that we could run through, and like I'm pretty sure that it's something worth fixing. By the way, since we have a live audience listening to this recording, apparently I've been missing Aloy's name up and keep saying Alloy the middle. It's not my fault that I'm a genius and I passed chemistry with an A. So, my brain's just that next level in thinking.
This
So
kid.
I'm just throwing out there, Lex boy genius out here. So shout out to my girl Aloy. Shout out to my boy Nick out here making sure that I said it correctly, even though he said that way too late. It is what it is. But it's just having this big of a brain, Kaelan, it's just really hard to maintain sometimes.
Some Jimmy Neutron type shit.
Got a blast. But anyways, Kaelan, where can the people find you out here, bro?
So you can find me on Twitter, Kaelan25. Yeah, man. Follow me on there. I'm pretty active on Twitter, I think.
What's your PSN, Kaelan, so people could actually, add you and play games with you whenever you're on?
Yeah, my PSN is lethal234.
You can follow me on Twitter. My name is twitter.com/Justin is trying. I'm barely getting there, guys. You can follow my, Twitter. I'll interact. I don't care. I will talk to anybody. I'll give you the follow back. I'll bless you.
Facts.
End of the show. We will see you next week and talk about more nonsense with Kaelan. Kaelan, it's been a pleasure.
It's always been a good time, man.
Till next time. See you, boys.
Peace.